My 23 female, dad cheated on his wife with my mom, but they stayed together. My mom died when I was a few months old, and my stepmom didn't want me in her house, so I was raised by my grandparents, who passed away 2 years ago. My dad died before them, so everything was willed to me and my half-brother, 28. I inherited their house, almost everything in it, and all of my grandma's jewelry, which is worth about $750,000. I was also the sole beneficiary of their life insurance, $300,000. My brother got a few heirlooms and some money, but it was far less than what I got because he inherited a lot from our dad, while I pretty much got nothing. At the time, he didn't have a problem with it. He's getting married soon, and I was talking to his fiancée, who told me my brother told her that our grandma wanted his future wife to get married wearing the jewelry she wore at her wedding. I have no idea why he told her this. He was not close to our grandma at all. She definitely did not promise him her wedding jewelry. I was actually planning on wearing it to my wedding and talked to my grandma about that. I told my sister-in-law that I couldn't give her the jewelry. She can borrow it for her wedding, but she has to return it because I plan to wear it to my wedding too. She told me she didn't want her sister-in-law to wear the same jewelry as her. I told her I couldn't give her the jewelry and that if my grandma wanted my brother's wife to have it, she would have willed it to him. I thought that was the end of it, but it was not. My brother called me that night and told me that his fiancée was crying because of me, and he deserved to have something from our grandma because I inherited a lot more than him. I reminded him that I grew up with my grandparents and had a much closer relationship with them. He cussed me out and said I tricked them into leaving me most of their money. That isn't true. They raised me since I was a few months old. I went to a local university instead of my dream school so I could stay home and care for them in their final years. So they had a better relationship with me. I told him that his fiancée could borrow the jewelry if she really wanted to wear it to her wedding, but I couldn't give it to her. His mom called me the next day and called me all sorts of nasty things for depriving my brother of something my grandma promised to give him. If my grandma had promised him that, I would have given him the jewelry, but I know she didn't, so I'm not giving it to him. Edit. All the jewelry's insured, except a few small pieces I wear regularly are in a safe deposit box at the bank. The jewelry in question is a necklace and earrings. I might give her something else if they don't shut up. Not the idiot. And at this point, don't even let your brother's fiancée borrow the jewelry, because I highly doubt you'd get it back without getting the police involved. Tell her your grandparents wanted you to have it, so you'll use it, since she doesn't want you both to wear the same jewelry. Inform her that your brother got a lot inherited to him from your father. He can use some of that money to get her a nice set of jewelry. These people plan to keep the jewelry and probably sell it. That's the only thing explaining their responses. Or buy an expensive-looking but fake jewelry set, saying it's from the collection, and let her borrow it. Pretend to have a great fake reservation, then cackle as she flaunts it. She'll probably get it appraised within a month, but she's not planning to return them. Can you imagine how embarrassed and angry she'll be? If she plans to return them, she will never know and will feel beautiful. I do see your point. That would be hilarious. I would laugh even more when she decided to keep it, then laugh so much more when they try to sell it and realize it's fake. And please, don't give them a smaller item if they don't shut up. All that teaches them is that boundary stomping, whining, and sending their flying monkeys at you will at least give them something. That's a dangerous precedent to set with these two. Your stepbrother's very persistent and entitled. Your grandmother wanted you to have it. My teen female, mom got pregnant young, and she has me and my brothers, 18 male and nearly adult male. My mom and the person I know as my dad started dating while she was pregnant with me. My whole life I was told he was my father, and his name is on my original birth certificate. My bio mom and dad were unfit parents, and it resulted in us being taken away by CPS. They eventually got their parental rights taken away. We were later adopted by a different family, and they are who we see as our mom and dad. A year ago, we discovered that the man we thought was our bio dad is in fact bio dad to middle brother, and our bio dad is a person we had never met. Our bio dad reached out to us, and while we were hesitant at first, our parents suggested we at least just say hi back. We did, and eventually we ended up meeting bio dad and later his family. Through this, we learned that bio dad knew that our mom was pregnant, but chose not to be involved and wanted nothing to do with us as he wasn't ready to have children. Present day, bio dad is married, and he and his wife are struggling to have kids. So after several months of slowly gaining our family's trust, bio dad suggested to our parents that they have unofficial custody with him, where we'd spend some weekends, holidays, summers, etc., and such with him and his wife. My parents said that they're not willing to give up weekends and holidays, etc., and don't want to have any unofficial agreement either. This annoyed my bio dad, and he started throwing the dad card around, saying that he's our father, and therefore he has the right to have us around as much as he wants, and that his suggestion was him trying to be reasonable. He then came to us, saying he wanted us to be a family again, and they were keeping us from him, etc., and just trash-talking my parents a lot. I guess he was trying to get us to side with him, but this just made us start to not like him. The next few times we met, he just kept on trash-talking our parents, and I told him that he had multiple chances to be a parent, but chose not to. He doesn't get to be a parent when it's now convenient for him, and had he stepped up earlier, he wouldn't be in this situation. I also said that if he kept trash-talking our parents, we'd stop talking to him. Now we've stopped talking. Our bio dad then took to social media, telling any and everybody that my parents are evil and keeping him from the only kids he might ever have, and calling us kids brainwashed, dumb, and ungrateful. Since then, we've had his family and friends contact us, saying we should apologize to bio dad and rethink our decisions. Others blame our parents, saying that one day we'll snap out of our parents' brainwashing and regret cutting our bio dad off. Some took it even as far as to say we're ungrateful, petty, and all kinds of mean things. Am I the idiot for telling my dad it's his fault he's in this situation? Not the idiot. This is ridiculous. How can a perfect stranger enter your life as a nearly legal adult and start claiming parental rights? If he cared, he would have been present in your younger years. You and your siblings owe him nothing. As far as you're concerned, he's just a donor. You have actual parents now, even though you're not biologically related. I agree. I'm a parent and I'm horrified at how bio dad is acting, especially with these horrible social media posts. I'd replied to his friends, asking what OP should be grateful for. The fact that her bio dad knew about his children and abandoned them to CPS for the first 17 years of their lives, only to show up when they're adults and expect someone to love him. OP, you're absolutely correct. He had multiple chances to be a parent and chose not to. He doesn't get to be a parent when it's now convenient for him. If his family and friends keep harassing you, respond with that and block them. You had a great adoptive mom and dad who really care about you and aren't using you to soothe the childless wife. I suspect if bio dad's wife has a kid, you'll get dropped again. Never have contact with him again. His behavior is off the rails, mean and ridiculous. Move on with no regrets. I, 27 female, go out with my sister, Lily, 35, once every 2 or 3 months for lunch. That is both because she has 3 kids, female preteen, male kindergartner, and female toddler, and barely has time, and because I have very few days to myself, thanks to my residency. Throughout this whole lunch, she's complained nonstop about how hard it is to have kids and be a mom for the past few years. Nonstop. She talks about kids 100% of the time and complains. I was extra tired during our last lunch, and I lashed out at her, saying that I don't remember anyone forcing her to have kids, and now that she has them, she should be a big girl and deal with the consequences of her actions and decisions. She got super mad and called me a judgmental idiot who knew nothing about parenthood. I was like, exactly. I'm taking one of the most challenging paths a person can take in my career, and I've never complained, not even a word, because I chose it myself. She told me I was a horrible sister and an even worse aunt, and she said she wanted nothing to do with an idiot like me. Am I the idiot? Edit. She does have a husband. She's a stay-at-home mom. Her husband has some financial struggles. All their kids were planned, informed choices she made. She's naturally a person who finds things to complain about, even when there genuinely isn't anything that bothers her. Not the idiot. You can only take so much from a person being so utterly negative like that. Sucks the life out of folks. The conversation sounds exhausting and one-sided. That being said, she's right about it being hard. I'm not a mom, but from seeing friends and family, it's lonely for them to get screamed at and puked on. It was her choice, as was your choice. Neither should be minimalized or marginalized for their challenges. Yeah, I think it's the sucks the life out of folks part. I had a chronically depressed friend that kept getting worse. I would do anything in my power to uplift her when we were together. A few friends even told me she seemed uplifted around me. I truly loved her as a friend. Years went by and she got increasingly negative, and it drained me. I had to give up the relationship. I still miss her, but I just can't do it. Everyone's the idiot here. People complain about the things happening in their lives. You probably complain about things in your life that are stressful. Your sister complains about her kids because they're stressful. It's literally what people do. Telling people they can't complain because they made their choice, so therefore they lost the right to complain, and it has to be all rainbows and butterflies, is absurd. However, you can't ask to change the subject or just sympathize. Also, don't compare your choices with your sister's. You're different people with different goals. Stop competing for whose life is harder. Based on your logic, you chose to have lunch with your sister, so therefore, you can't complain about that experience. My boyfriend got very skinny in the last few weeks. I feel he lost at least 10 kilograms, 22 pounds. I saw him shirtless yesterday and was kind of shocked at how much weight and muscle he lost. I still think he's beautiful, but I'm worried about his health if it continues like that. Yesterday I told him that I noticed how much weight he had lost and that he should start eating more before he gets sick. I said it's not a serious tone at all though, just chill. He got kind of offended and told me to mind my own business. He was very dismissive and kind of rolled his eyes at me, which made me sad. I apologized and I told him I was just worried about him. And then he said, "Do you want me to call you a fatty and eat less? Yeah, don't be annoying." I was so shocked that he'd say something like that. I wasn't trying to be mean at all. I'm still very sad about this, and we haven't talked much since then. And I don't get why he even said this, because I'm at a normal weight. I'm 5'5" and 150 pounds. But his comment made me very self-conscious. His overall behavior has been very dismissive for some time now, and I don't know why. But anyways, was I wrong for saying that? Should I apologize again? If his comment made you self-conscious, how do you think he felt when you told him to eat more? Body shaming isn't just when a skinny person makes fun of a bigger person. It's okay for you to point out his weight, but when he suddenly turns the tables, you're the victim? Nah, you're Delulu, and you are the idiot. I'm confused. You said he'd lost 10 kilograms, 22 pounds, in a few weeks? So something like 4 to 7 pounds a week? And he's now skinnier? And you went straight to eat more? If this is correct, this is dramatic, rapid weight loss that indicates a serious medical issue. This is, "Dear, I've noticed that you've lost a lot of weight very quickly. I'm worried something is wrong. Have you checked in with your doctor? Are you feeling okay?" type of weight loss. You are the idiot for how you handled it. His response suggests to me that something is up, and he's entirely unaware of it. I hope you guys are able to talk about this productively and that he's okay. When someone loses 10 kilos in weeks, it is a big indicator that something is very wrong in the body. It's not healthy, as weight shouldn't just go away like that. It isn't delusional or body shaming to point out a medical emergency to your partner. Screw it if it hurts their little feelings. It's unhealthy and must be pointed out and checked out ASAP. Sudden and unexplained weight loss is a common sign of cancer, for a singular example. Would you rather they just ignore that and potentially let it get worse? Absolutely not the idiot. They should go to a medical professional as soon as possible. Hopefully it's nothing, but something could be very wrong. My ex-husband, Adam, has a brother, Larry. During our marriage, Larry was the nightmare brother-in-law, constantly boundary stomping, picking at people until they got upset, gaslighting them, etc. He grew to dislike me, as I was one of the few to call him on his crap and tell him to stop. I kept telling Adam we should go low or no contact, and he refused. Larry then began crap-talking me to everyone. Adam never stood up for me, despite several conversations. Unfortunately, my daughter, then a young teen, now a mid-teen, ended up hearing a lot of it, and it really hurt her as we're close. I did my best to keep my kids from Larry, but Adam continued to bring my kids around them. Due to this and many other factors, we divorced. I tried to fight in court that Adam couldn't bring the kids around Larry and lost. One day, Larry went too far, crap-talking me in front of my daughter, and she went off on him, defending me and calling him out for his bullying behavior. She later told her dad it was her or Larry, and if he didn't pick her, she'd never go over to his house again. At the time, I had full custody, as my kids were old enough to decide who to live with, and they picked me. They eventually compromised that my daughter wouldn't have to be around Larry again, but Adam would continue seeing him on his own. My daughter entered therapy shortly after and didn't see Larry after that. With the help of her therapist, she finally told me that when I wasn't around, Larry would bully her and instigate until she got upset. Then her father would ground her or make her apologize. Adam was then asked to join therapy and apologized. Adam and our daughter have since begun seeing a therapist to work on their relationship. Well, Larry died last week of a heart attack. Adam is naturally devastated. The funeral was yesterday. My daughter refused to go. I told my daughter she didn't have to go. My son, a teen, chose to, and I respected that. I did make sure my daughter was positive she didn't want to go, and she stood firm, taking several days to mull it over. We also discussed sometimes we do things we don't want to for those we care about, which also led to a great conversation on boundaries, and I ultimately respected her choice. If it's relevant, the funeral fell on my custody day. Adam's angry at me that I didn't force my daughter to go. I said that, given the circumstances, she shouldn't have to go. Several members of Adam's family have reached out and told me that I had enabled my daughter to alienate Adam and Larry from each other, and have further allowed her to be disrespectful by allowing her to miss the funeral. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your daughter learned how to stand up for herself. There's zero point in making her go to her funeral to pay her respects to someone who never respected her or you. Good job, Mom. And if Adam doesn't knock it off, I can foresee another funeral your daughter may skip. It sounds like your ex-brother-in-law only abused women and girls, and your ex was okay with that. Hasn't Adam learned anything? Despite all that therapy, etc., your daughter will end up going low or no contact with him and his family, and he'll be crying, wondering why. Honestly, the fact that they're all trying to attack both you and her for her making a choice based on her own needs just shows the very toxic lack of respect for personal boundaries they all have.